Once again, it comes about the Pregraduate class, and I'm going to explain you some things as to your task of Pregraduate class. Last week, you were listening, watching, and listening to my explanation about diagrams of coordination, and you have finished it up with diagram of coordination developing for jig, techniques of jig mounting, and techniques of jig assembly jig coordination. Now we are going to talk about their designing of jig again. The subject that you have listened to almost months ago, design procedure of the jig, and it's one of your pregraduate tasks. I mean, for the grade, you do remember, and that is why we're beginning to talk about it again, and we are still in line in our laboratory works, in line with your laboratory works, in line with your bachelor grade, bachelor diploma thesis, so on. So, in order to remind you what it comes about, and we were talking about this already in our practical class, frame that looks like this. Right now, we not see the whole frame, the whole appearance of this frame. It's a frame under the floor. On sides, you see pieces of panels, fuselage panels. Now you see the frame on the floor and something like a spar, but it's not a spar, it's element of frame, web supported with two caps, top cap and bottom cap, not visible, stiffeners, and the bottom of this frame is a rim. Here it's visible, similar thing in a drawing, and here it's visible piece of photo you see. I placed here this picture on purpose in order you may recollect this explanation. I hope you will recollect. And here is the photo of half of such a frame. No, because it was already inbuilt inside of airplane, of course, it's not possible to make photos that will correspond immediately to the drawing. I hope you understand it. And what do you see now? It's by the word. I do not remember who is the owner, let it be, of this beautiful frame of you. Maybe Stanley, maybe not. I do not remember. Pay attention to the place of joining of two rims, because this frame has middle rim or bottom rim, left rim and right rim, and they are joined approximately here in this place. The place of the joining, it's visible here, and it's visible that one rim, it's Z profile, it's directed in one side, and another rim, it's behind of the web, in contrary to this one, in front of the web, it's visible to us. Another rim, it's half hidden under the web, and direction of its Z in another side. We can't see this. Oh, no, I hope somehow it's visible at this place for you. We can't see this Z profile. We may see only back side, and we may see bottom pistons which join this frame to the skin. Pay attention, stringers, skin, and other elements like this. They are not elements of this frame. Whatsoever they are shown in a drawing, compulsory they are given in a drawing. Here it's visible at least a bit. And in such a drawing, they are shown with special type of line, a double dot line. No, it was to remind you what we are talking about, which frame. And now to remind you again what assembly jig of this frame looks like. I just copied these photos once again immediately from the from your place, from your explanation, from your group. So we have already talked about them, certainly. What we see here, actually there are two jigs and the same frame. It's a couple of special jigs on the same frame to save place in the shop, to save money, and so on. We paying attention now, we are watching to the one side, to this front side. What do we see? We see continuous locator of contour What is continuous locator of contour for? Oh, sorry, better this photo. This continuous locator is necessary for rims. It's repeating shape of rims. It's necessary to locate 3 rims one by one. And I hope you do remember that at the place where we have, well, it's visible in a drawing, but I'm awkward, sorry. But at this place in a drawing, it's visible. It's only I'm trying to show it properly, it's disappearing out of you. In a phone, it's easy to do. Here in computer, it's not so easy to control behavior of photo. I will cut a piece in order it will be, but quality of course not good, you understand. Somehow it's visible. You see that where we have stringers, frame has cuts. Better visible here. Now, frame has cuts, and this frame, it's not in touch. It does not have any contact. Does not. It do not have any contact. It does not has any contact to the frame rim, but it must be joined somehow to the stringer. How they do it? They do it with element that is called knee. This knee is barely visible, but visible on back side of the rim, and stringer is here, this L shape. Here is L shape stringer. No, I made it too great. You forgive me. Of course, it does not touch frame, something like this. And knee is a little bit with another color. You see, да? Knee touching the stringer, and knee is joined to stringer, to the rim with a couple of rivets. And in turn, it's also joined to the stringer with couple of rivets. It's another side of knee. Let's see, what do we have? What I mean, these knees, we are going to join to their frame immediately while assembling the frame itself. But we need to understand where they should be placed. Of course, you may use assembly holes. You may use this couple of holes in each knee to locate the knee. But accuracy of such locating is plus minus 1.5 to millimeters. Certainly, it's not appropriate when we're talking about locating of stringers and frame, because if they do not coincide, plus minus even millimeter, the clearance, it's already too much. We should not bend stringer or bend knee in order to join them. But we may meet even worse situation. For instance, they intersected. It will be even more unpleasant situation. So knees should be located accurately in the jig, and that is why the jig has special. Pay attention. Why I'm talking so long about this little knees. You see, for each knee, at the continuous locator of rims, we have additional locators, contour locators, but they are already exactly for these knees. They imitate stringers, not practically they imitate stringers, and because of presence existing of these locators, we may locate knee also at the jig immediately by elements, by locators of jig, by the stoppers. What you see on the left is one of clamps which is necessary to clamp rim to this continuous locator. Now, I hope you are recollecting what we're talking about. Here you see locator of CFH for the web, but certainly not for this particular frame, because it's very similar jig, yes, but where you have locator of CFH here in this jig, in the frame that we see in the photo and in the drawing, we have empty place, so it's not for this frame, the jig. In general, it's rather similar. Pay attention what it also has. In order you may imagine where we have top of the frame, we have it approximately here, where we have to locate element which is called top cap. This element, top cap. By the word, all these frames, they have one more element, top profile at the top. This top profile, it also has its own locators. But top profile, it's joined to the frame only in the middle. It's approximately in this area. You see it. I hope you see in a drawing. And we are interested above the wall to join this to place, to locate this top cap correctly, because it's immediately under the floor, as we might see. It's supposed to be joined to the floor stringers, seems like. Or at least it support the stringers of cargo flow or passenger flow. So we must place this top cap with very high accuracy. That is why top cap located by special locators. We have here, it's already some another jig. They all look similar, as you might see. But if you pay attention to details in each jig, you might see that there are some different jigs actually. That one and this one photo, they are detalization of the same jig. But that one, it's completely another jig. It's not another side of that jig. It's completely another jig. And the whole shop is stuffed, as you might see, filled with similar jigs. You may see behind of the jig one more, and so on. Because it was a shop for assembling the nose and rear section of the fuselage, and they assembling their frames also. Well, let's come back. What I'm trying to, to point your attention to the fact that for top cap we have locators either in this jig or in that jig. Something is visible that we have some. They are opened now. They are moved up, these locators, but we have locators only somewhere near this line of top cap. We have no any locators in the place where we have, you might see it, in the place where we have bottom cap. It's empty place, no locators. What else we supposed to understand? Stiffeners, pay attention. These stiffeners, for these damn little knees, for each knee, we see locators. What about these stiffeners? For these stiffeners, we don't see any locator. For these long stiffeners that are present in the drawing, we also not see any locator in it. Empty places. What does it mean for us? Watching such a jig, we understand. No, I hope you do remember. We were talking about this frame and how to assemble this frame. Watching this jig, we may understand that rims are located in jig by contour, top cap located by contour, web located by CFH, by locators of hole type, where it's visible immediately in that plot. No, what there are locator of CFH here, here, on the top. I'm not see it right now, but it's also present somewhere. And that's it. Knees are located by imitators of stringers, as we might see here. We see stoppers, let it be for knees. And that's it. No any stiffener, no any short stiffener, no any long stiffener located by jig elements. It means that stiffeners located by assembly holes. They have no locators of jig, and it means that they are located either by surfaces or by assembly holes, but certainly not by elements of jigs. Okay, let's sorry. Let's continue. I promised you that I will start losing the voice after some minutes. I already do it. Now, pay attention. No, where I took the beginning of this explanation, you have already seen. I took it immediately in Mentor under the task and propose you to do the same. Pay attention here. It's Pregraduate class number 4, no? And it comes about the same frame. Of course, everything here not was photos in symbolic way, and here we consider the process of jig scheme designing. We are not talking about real designing of jig as a drawing developing. We're talking only about scheme, something that you need for your bachelor work. And usually we call this frame, do forgive me, three-eyed monster. Mary monster, as you might see, seems like it's smiling. No? I need you to recognize some elements of this frame. Web, symbolically, without this hole, but symbolically. Web has 3 CFH, one somewhere in the middle and 2 on sides. If you'd like, we may open the drawing with frame that we have seen some minutes ago, and we will see where these CFH are. Also, it has rims that we need to locate on the contour. And at the top, it has top cap. You see this double line, which supposed to be located by locators of jig. We are not talking here about knees, more probably, but we are trying to develop the jig scheme for this frame after we analyze it, after we have selected methods of assembling. We are trying to develop primitive scheme, and developing of the scheme, it started with drawing in thin lines the structure of frame itself. But we don't need all the drawing, like we have seen it immediately here. We don't need it. We need only to repeat symbolically these elements, those elements, which need locators of jig. So we have repeated contour of rims, we have repeated contour of top cap, and it's already enough, actually, in order to start developing of jig. It's enough. What is next? Next step is placing of locators. What sort of locators you need? As we just have seen in photos, you need locators of contour, outside locator, continuous locator. You need locators of CFH, coordinate fixing holes, and you need locator of top contour. Let's see. In a red, you see that it's approximately, it's rough draft, sorry. You see that we have, now I hope you see it better. No, really three-eyed Mary monster. You have 3 locators around of CFH holes, and you have continuous locator. In my scheme, I made it consisting of 3 sub-elements because it's more convenient, actually. And each step is accompanied with explanation, so you will read it and I will try to follow. What is next step? All these locators until, no, do imagine, do remove these blue lines, like imaginally. Remove it. And what you will see, that we have 6 locators flying in air separately from each other. We need to unite them into stiff common system. How we may do it? Adding the frame. In this picture, you see we have added frame. And in my picture, I propose to follow approximately follow to the shape of frame itself. No, I may mislead you with using similar words. Let's use skeleton or carcass logic because they have the same name. Frame a structural element assembly unit, and frame of jig as carcass of jig. Carcass of jig. So carcass of jig is approximately follow to the shape of frame of airplane frame. In order to save distance from locator to the carcass when you need to join it, if it's too far this distance, it's not convenient for those who manufacture the jig, for those who work with the jig. It's not much convenient. It's not necessary. We may do this carcass straight line here instead of repeating this something like tapered shape. No? But we have preferred to do it like this, repeating approximately the shape of frame itself. What is next step? Next step, no, next step, you see, Madam forgot to add locators of top cap at the beginning. No? And after this, Madam has added, you see, locators of top cap. Again, you do everything symbolically. And one more thing has appeared here. It's side view. And in this side view, we might see a red color locator of rim symbolically, a red color here, locator of CFH. It's just bushing with pin, as we might see it in photos. Once again, bushing, and this bushing hole, not like this, like that, like this one, like that one. I hope it's visible for you. Not that one, for instance, on side. No, in the middle, it's already greatly visible. Here is at the bottom. Once again, remind you, there are two different jigs on two sides of this frame, of this carcass. And actually, each jig in a shop, it's similar in this meaning, because on each carcass from two sides there are two different jigs. No one works with two frames simultaneously, but their program of this plant in a shop, and not great labor input for each frame. It's resulted that the most of jigs, if we do special jigs for each of these frames, most of these jigs permanently will stay empty. Program is not great, only sometimes couple of dozens maybe of airplane per year, and each frame may be manufactured rather quickly. Maximum 2 working shifts are necessary for each frame. So the most of year such a frame is empty. In order to save money, in order to save place in a shop, they just united couple of jigs to the common carcass, but really it comes about completely two different completely assembly jigs for two different frames. Well, for those who have experience, there is no problem to distinguish such things, for you after my explanation. I hope it's understandable. I hope. Next, as I said, we see system of locators joined to the carcass of jig, and on side it's already appeared again symbolically with blue color. We have shown it frame with some thickness, and with red color you see locators of top cap, locator of CFH, and locator of bottom, which looks actually as a curvative board. No? And finally, the jig is ready. What it's enough for your bachelor work, what more than enough. Pay attention, nothing difficult it was. Locator of top cap, no? Locator of CFH, locator of contour, locator of contour of rim, clamps, again, completely symbolically. Just some rectangles, do forgive me. And no, don't pay attention to this, don't be misled with this name, frame, carcass of the jig. Carcass or skeleton of the jig, as you like. Or you may write frame of the jig, it's not mistake, it's just problem for you that you misunderstood what it comes about. And once again, remind you that you have explanations in books with the jigs. Wait, sorry, not now. And you have very beautiful book immediately in your group. You have and you have additional materials here, about jigs also a lot. Да. What if we touch this? More probably we will find this book. Да, that one. This book you have in your group, people. We may open it, of course, but you have it. As only we open it, I hope you recollect it. Why I decorated it with some hearts, smiles, and so on. This bright ornamental decoration, it's necessary to make students to remember this book, exactly this book they need. And what I like in this book that it has three-dimensional pictures. Three-dimensional pictures, thanks Lord for those people who wrote this book. No? And three-dimensional pictures of jig. Three-dimensional picture of assembly unit, three-dimensional picture of jig. Here it's even more complex that we need in your bachelor work. But at least you may watch the pictures of assembly units and jigs. Due to this, you may be able to imagine what it looks like in real life. And plus to this, about this rib, we're talking rather long already sometimes. We have used these examples, no? I hope you do remember. So please, what we need in your bachelor work, вот literally. Давайте мы сделаем так. Print screen. Let's drop it into your group. Да? And pay attention that I'm clumping the picture immediately to the place where you might find the book, if you need. Book in your group is file. So much files already. Кошмар. Concept. Maybe that one. Let's see. No, here is. It's in your group, and in order you may find it with this. Let's do it right now. No. If you touch this, you see where's the book. I may resend it again, but do forgive me, how many times should we resend it? It's just trashing the group. Ой. Чего он от меня хочет? Отстань. Так. Ну, and that one. Green screen. Once again, following two elementary explanations, do forgive me, it's not what we need. By the word, yesterday we have our professional holiday. I hope you do remember, да? Do you recognize what is it? Who is it? Hello?
No,
Brian? Who's this man? Oh my, you don't know him? Do read it.
Yuri Gagarin.
Yuri Gagarin, first ever person that left the Earth and went into space, no? Fly into space. The first ever human. And here is newsreel, as it called in English, short movie about the first flight. Some no, some pieces are no, really documentary, real documentary. Some pieces, of course, they are what like this one. It's general designer of our first spacecraft and Sergei Korolev. And some things were repeated for camera on purpose, да? Not real. But mostly it's contain real real videos. Pay attention to this one, for instance. What these videos are real. What will happen in the center of flight and so on. And what? Pay attention here. They are also real movie. And pay attention to his face. Look, he tensed a lot. You see? Да? It's no like it's all real, and pay attention to face of him. We get used to see him with a white smile, no, because really he had very beautiful smile. And you see they are hugging, they are talking, they are smiling, but actually at this moment they do not know whether it will be successful start or not. And the man in orange, in this special suit, special costume, да, special suit for spacecraft, he, ну, he agreed to sacrifice actually his life for this experiment. Let it be. Of course, they did everything in order to be safe, in order he came back and so on. But no one at that moment knew whether it's possible to the man to no whether it will be everything is okay with the spacecraft, whether it's possible to come back. Yes, theoretically they calculated everything, but practically, theory does not correspond to practice in some cases, at least.
Yeah.
And also, it was very important moment before Gagarin. During the year, they made experiments on animals. They sent mostly they sent dogs to space, and of course everything in with video, with recording. And next, it was very important moment whether these dogs survive, not survive. Of course, they survived. Most of them have survived. Most of animals, but their psychology, their psychics, да, their mental faculties. It's not mental faculties of human. No one knew then whether he came back normal or not. This person, maybe he got madness there in space. No one may say that. And when he came, pay attention once again to his face. When he's going, he's moving into the spacecraft. He do not know. Maybe it's already his last steps and last minutes of his life, or maybe even he came back, but he will be not him. No, he will be just, do forgive me, a vegetable. No one knew it at that moment, and he didn't know it. So it was very serious. It's not just some achievements. He went to space. Who went into space? Actually, he already considered himself dead. I don't know how to explain it normally in English, but he have agreed. I'm a dead man, and in case I die, no, he wrote his testament and last will, as it called in English. He wrote the last letter immediately before this flight. He wrote the letter to 5 daughters. No, like the man who going to the how it's called. I forgot this word. Execution or something like this. Да? punishment with canceling of life at all. Так что вот pay attention. His face in a bus. It's not in spacecraft yet. Everyone in a bus together with him. They are going to their let it be spaceport, да, in a bus. And you see how he tensed and concentrated.
Yeah.
No. Let's come back to jigs, lazy bones. Так, how to find where have we been? By this bell. The easiest way for us right now. Так, once again, what I need you to do? I need you to develop the jig scheme. If you'd like, your highnesses, this time you may work with panel or you may work with your bachelor units immediately. Do forgive me, I'm still not see that any of you sent me three-dimensional sketch of unit. You have sent me drawings of your assembly units and have stopped. Maybe you think that I'm going to do three-dimensional sketches instead of you? No, I may do it. It takes me some minutes for each of you. But my task is not to give you, not to supply you diploma, do forgive me. My task to do you able, to make you able to do it without me. My task to give you ability to do something. So please, compulsory, let's try to draw at least by pieces your units. And if you'd like, in the fourth task, you may, in mentor, I mean, third mentor, that is not. Pay attention. Assembly jig scheme developing. Here is. Here you may, young gentlemen, do the jig for your bachelor unit, for your frames, for your ribs, and so on. So suppose it to be two assembly jigs for the panel immediately that you have started to work with, that since beginning you are working with this locating charts, next part supply conditions, and so on. One more subject that's supposed to be considered is this one, 315, but I don't know why it's dropped me into another place. Let's try once again. Так, копировать ссылку 3158. Сейчас. Вот это вот. It's given. I was surprised why it's dropped me to another place. Ну. Why? We have seen 3-1, да? 5-8. Something. Let's change it. Изменить. 3-1, 5-8. No, Pregraduate third class. Why? We see. No, you see, да? That I'm copying it. And it's give me another values at all. Так. No, okay. Later I will try to change it to fix the situation. No, at least you have it in a group. The link for the third class. What about this third class? Also, if you'd like, you may develop immediately the list of demands for your jig, for your bachelor unit. Or if you still do not understand what it looks like, maybe your assembly unit, then you are continue to work with panels. What is it? Look, no, above all, where to read about it. You have in your manual for laboratory work, you have two tables. I hope you do remember these tables. And in these tables, you have technical requirements for developing of assembly jig. It's description of future assembly jig from one engineer to another engineer. The engineer who writing technological process this engineer compulsory develop the scheme of jig like we just have seen. This, no, not this. You know, three-eyed monster. No, something like this. Scheme of jig. It's achievement, let it be, of the engineer who developing assembly technological process. The sequence of steps. What to do, what tooling, who do it, how long it takes, and so on. And one more thing that such engineer must develop is demands to assembly jigs. In your bachelor work, you do assembly jig scheme, you do such demands, technical requirements, but it's not demands to the jigs that we have studied, like list of what jig supposed to be, yeah, looks like, and which property it has. It's description, they are called demands for designing of jig, and its description not only the structure of jig, but its description include also how the jig is manufactured and coordinated. What do you see here immediately in this table? It's not the best variant, let it be. One of authors of this laboratory manual have insisted to leave it like this for commonality with previous version of our manuals. What I may propose you to do in this meeting, we have reports for laboratory work number 3. Let's try to find it next. Right now, it will be too long. Wait, we will do like this. Link, and I do it in the wrong place. Sorry, certainly. I should click it here first to reduce the and one more laboratory in order to reduce their list here. Так, no, certainly not. Not. Wow. Not. Not. Huh. I can't find it like this, seems like. Okay, I will use Mentor now. I thought this way will be faster. I made mistake, you see. No, it's already beginning. No. Well, let's use Mentor then. In Mentor, we have in laboratory classes, not in Pregraduate, you know, in your discipline about assembling. The lab that we are not doing, moreover, I'm not see here the link to it, to explanation. That lab, we don't do this lab. Don't mix up, please. In previous semester, some Indian students sent me this lab, download this lab, submit it in Mentor. Why? Where you took it at all? We were not doing this lab. Oh, really? Так, it's copied me. Report. And it's in progress to open. Must be. Yes. And in this report, no, actually, it's lab that we fulfill in a class, watching Alena, watching the jigs and next drawing the jigs here, do the sketching schemes of jigs and writing these demands, pay attention. Here is the list of questions you see. No? I will send this thing immediately to you now. Like this. Oh. But do remember you have it in Mentor also, if you need it. And pay attention what is important for us here. It's this table with 8 questions actually. You see, there are 8 questions the author of such a jig need to answer. Right now, we will copy this just in order you have it as reminding in front of you. Memorabilia. Let's drop it here. And let's try first to talk about the jig for this rib. No, I hope you do remember. And last video that you supposed to watch, it was about this jig and diagram of coordination of this jig. Let's try to answer the questions that we see right now. Purpose of jig. Jig is for assembling the rib number, nose rib number of airplane and name of airplane. Position of assembly in a jig. Position of the rib in a jig. Vertical, according to the flight position, or as in a flight. Order of assembling. What is order of assembling? No, we may propose that order of assembling was web, next outer profile, next inner profile. Do forgive me. Order of assembly. Web was pre-assembled with. I hope you do remember. Web was pre-assembled with stiffeners. So first in order is assembly of web with stiffeners. Next are outer profiles, top profile, bottom profile, rear profile. Next are inner profiles, and that's it. It's order of assembling. Main technological basis of jigs. Pay attention once again to recollect what are main bases of the jig. It comes about elements of interchangeability and coordination of the jig actually. It comes about locators. Main technological basis of the jig are contour of locator for top cap, for bottom cap, and for inner cap. Next, it has some locators. You see these additional stoppers here. Locators of contour of inner profiles, because it has profile on 2 sides, here and at the top. And it has 3 CFH. CFH holes. No, CFH holes, it's already like water is wet. It means that locators of CFH, locators of coordinate fixing holes. Main technological basis of the jig. It comes about list of locators, practically. Now it asks main interchangeable elements and their accuracy. For that locators that you have just mentioned. And by the word, here instead of all this long explanation, you may write refer to the locating chart. You may write down here where to see locating chart. In real life, it's number of drawing with locating chart. In your bachelor work, you may write number of item via locating chart for your item, for your assembly jig is for your assembly unit, do forgive me, is given. Something like 4.3, for instance. Or page number. Locating chart at the C locating chart at the page number, or C locating chart in item number. Main interchangeable elements and their accuracy. main point, accuracy of these interchangeable elements. Accuracy we're actually calculating in which level, you already know it. What are accuracy of these contours? You must calculate it. It will be tolerance for your assembly unit. And here you are writing outer contour with some range of values that you have calculated, plus minus 0.5, for instance, or plus minus 0.6. Don't know what you will calculate. Comma, and next, CFH diameter 5H7 or diameter 5H9, maybe diameter 8. It's about accuracy of interchangeable elements. Those who have, no, if we have it, I do not remember. And yes, John has in his assembly unit, he has brackets. So John has GBH. John also need to write GBH diameter and accuracy of this diameter. Next, gauges mockups are the tooling of second order for jig mounting. It's necessary to develop additional tooling for mounting the jig and to design it. And that is why here it's the question about, do you need such a tooling, special tooling? It does not come about universal tooling. Do you need special tooling? And if you need, which one? Actually, it comes about method of coordination. In case you are using standard method of coordination, or standard template, for instance, with mockups. No, if you need something like this, like such mockups, you must mention it there in your description, in your demands to jig designing. Jaws certainly need as compulsory a gauge. Others, you need to decide whether you're using only universal means, or you're using, for instance, template of jig in order to realize, we call it program template method of jig mounting. I hope you do understand that it's possible to use natural carrier of sizes and shapes like template or mockup. Mockup, it's some device that repeat both holes and contours. In case you don't like to use any special carrier, you may use only instrumental means. Instrumental means are such tables, rulers, instrumental rulers, you see them a bit aside. Some optical devices, laser devices, coordinate measuring machine. Actually, you may do imagine everything and do lie about that you have assembled the jig, you have mounted the jig using the coordinate measuring machine and laser trackers. No, if you'd like. But don't forget that you need to develop diagram of coordination correctly in this case. Diagram of coordination should correspond to these demands. And John compulsory need mockup at least as a gauge, at least mockup of junction. About others, if you have GBH, mockup, gauge or junction is compulsory. If not, it's your decision, up to you, whether you use template to locate elements around, no, to locate jig, wait a second, to locate jig elements, to locate jig locators around of this template, find their position. And next, you fix them in this position and remove template, and you have ready jig, like it was in our laboratory work with the SPA. Так. What is next? Direction of assembly component placing and removing from jig. It's important because you need to understand where you're supposed to have empty places near the jig and inside of jig itself. Right now, not ready to show you a photo to remind you, but I hope you do understand that in books somewhere, what not ready to show, but it happens that I may show. If I hope you do remember when we were talking, if you have something big in size, heavy, after you even assemble it inside of such a jig, it's necessary to remove it. And you need to understand whether you're going to remove it you aside from this jig, from this one. It's possible to remove only to yourself. aside to employee, in direction to myself. From this jig, it's possible to remove something, seems like at least, to the top and aside, to one side and to another side. To the top, it's important if you have something heavy, that it's not removable on hands of people. If you have big airplane, if you have huge wing or piece of fuselage, you suppose it to remove it to the top by special overhead crane. And those things, they are mentioned in jig design demands in order to understand what skeleton of jig, what this carcass of jig should look like. And next, means of mechanization and automatization of assembly work. In your case, practically not. In your case, maximum that you may mention that jig must have working place, must have a connection to pneumatic network in order to use pneumatic manual tool, like pneumatic drill gun and pneumatic rivet gun. Nothing more complex. What else? Right now, I will try to show you one more place. I'm already doubt that I'll be successful, do forgive me, but I will try. Pregraduate 143 FJ. Also rather, doesn't work. May you imagine? Maybe pregraduate. I skipped one of letters. No, you see the same things, or like sending back to the same things in some places, and no, you see, sending back to that class. And one place maybe will be unique, maybe. Requirements of assembly jig design are, you see. No. It's almost the same list, you see, purpose of jig, tab, so on, that you see in laboratory work. And more probably here it's also given with explanation, not given with explanation. No, do forgive me. Let's try to see what is next. It's the same. Here is sending back to this three-eyed Mary monster. But here it's also sending back to the dreadful schemes. It's Pregraduate class number 5. We're supposed to have it next time. But if you not mind, right now I will send you both this class and the class that I said will be unique. Let's try. I'm sending you a link in order you may open and watch it and read explanation. Partially we have already used this in our explanations. Так, that one. The very last, here is a little addition to the 5th class. Also ask you to start watching them. Of course, it was inside of class, everything, inside of real class. And here it's only reminding to those boys who listened to the class. Like we making record for you. We are making record in order you may recollect it next. When we had classes in class, we also, I left here at least photos with short explanations in order they may recollect what they did in class. But of course, in class they made notes and so on. Propose you to watch these things also. And together with video classes, together with explanation in the book, after like collecting of some critical mass, let it be of knowledge, it must be changing something, like joining something in your minds, and it must start working in your minds. Must. I'm not sure that it may happen, but let's try, people. If you don't do it, certainly it will not happen. If you do something, maybe we will have better results. So once again, ask you to watch video classes, in your group you have each time video classes. Here in computer, they are even separate with videos, you see. These videos about diagrams of cognition, however unpleasant it's for you, however boring it's for you, please watch them. Next, after you watching such things, don't forget to read these places in Telegram that I'm sending you. And don't think that if you do nothing, just being present here in class, it somehow develop you. No, you need also to do something practically. Watching, listening, reading, and do something practically. As to your practical training, as I'm already said you must give me at least one more task already. And this one more task is a scheme of assembly jig. Oh, I choose wrong discipline. I choose the same discipline when in Pregraduate. Assembly jig developing, yeah? That one. Let's send it to remind you what you supposed to submit. And that one is also, it's easy, rather easy. I propose you to work with these two tasks together. If you'd like, once again, it may be assembly jig from your bachelor work, you may start already. Or if not, if you're still uncertain about what do you have in bachelor work, what it looks like, then do continue to work with that panels that we have agreed to work since beginning. But then in this case, you have two variants. Don't forget that you have two variants and you need to draw a couple of scheme of jigs which correspond to locating charts. That actually pay attention. What about locating charts? The tasks that you supposed to submit already a month and a half ago. You see? Still zero. Thank you, children. Once again, after today's class, two tasks. Do start right now. Let's stop record.